Boy, I tell you, if I was a smoker, this would be just the occasion for me to light one up. Anyway, hey, another long-awaited episode here. Oftentimes you'll see me try to inject humor into these reviews because it's just part of who I am. And I love doing these. I love this medium and expressing my thoughts about it. But I think there's certain times where humor doesn't really have a place, like a funeral for instance, and that's kind of the same deal we have going here. This arc's gonna give you a new definition of dark after it's done bashing you over the head, killing you, then mangling your corpse. So let's get the show on the road. Let's start the review of Hunter x Hunter episode 85, Light and Darkness. It's kind of making me laugh. I mean, I can see myself in this camera and I can see I'm visually distraught, but anyway. As always, the show has excellent and brisk segments at the beginning before the opening that highlight important things that happened. This time it simply shows us Neferpitou's official named entrance. A very quick segment happens of Ramot just giddily punching comrades for their benefit, of course. The sheepy follower face he had is only when Neferpitou's commanding him, I suppose, because he has his full sadism back in here. You can just see he's deriving pleasure from this. A juicy tidbit here is that Gon and Killua, while following Kite in the forest, comment on his incapacity of 45 meters, saying that a master's is 50 meters. Well, didn't Zeno have around a 300-meter in radius back in York Shin, back in the mansion? He must be, like, beyond a master then, and he is part of the Zoldyck family, so I suppose In has a huge capacity beyond even masters. We get a nice retreading of stuff for a while, but it's a nice retread. There's lots of nice goodies from Madhouse here, like Kite saying he's not going to train Gon or Killua, and that their growth will simply be a byproduct of their mission. This is a great dialogue choice to reaffirm the tone that's already been established. A tremendous red flag for media aficionados sets off here when Kite says the "can't die" phrase. Oftentimes when someone says he can't die, well, it happens. Kite sets up the hunter and prey dichotomy, which really reinforces what's about to happen in this episode. There were a decent amount of people on certain forums fearing that the flashback would be longer, but it was really short. It was only like 15 seconds, so no worries there. It's one of the only times you'll see Kite actually angry. The light keyboards of this scene really fit the stars that are strewn in the sky. Madhouse also introduces Ging's hunter license. I'm trying to get that name down. Jing. They introduce it into the story anyway, which is a fairly big step for them to take, but it does work. So, for example, if Gon were to find his dad sometime in the future, it might tie things up better if he returned the license to Ging, much like Luffy returning the hat to Shanks far in the distant future of One Piece. Very intelligent move by Madhouse. Oh god, they're doing that thing again. The thing where they take already heart-wrenching, events from the manga and make them even more gut-destroying by adding up an emotional build-up around it. This is how adaptations should be. Faithful and enhancing the product when they have the opportunity. Quick side note, I liked the lighter tone of Kite's voice here. In typical Chimera Antark fashion, the scene switches to a completely different mood. Ramot knocks some ants into next week while Neferpitou pities their apparent mediocrity. And when she gets that sinister, playful laugh, you know things are about to get very bad. This is where the chills should start creeping their way through your body, like prickling your hairs and slithering through your spine as Neferpitou nonchalantly says she wants to test her strength. Things very suddenly take a turn for the absolute worst as Kite tells the boys to escape with immediate haste. When Kite's voice is hoarse like that and he's sweating, you know something's up. We get to see just how far In can actually extend with Pitou's ungodly range and her gaze fixated on Kite. Madhouse gets even the really subtle details like Neferpitou's leg muscles tightening in preparation for a gigantic, leopard-like jump. The jump a predator would take to catch its prey with one strike. Kite's arm is spinning through the air, and I'm sure the confusion of the situation is spinning the minds of our two heroes just as fast into disarray. I'm sure some people have a quibble about Kite's arm sparkling, but it is still spewing out blood like a broken fire hydrant, and I'm sure the sparkling is just supposed to be the effect of, the moon shining down on it. Pitou's oppressive energy spells out malice, and I thought this might have been an addition, but it was actually shown in the manga too. It was just in Japanese, so I didn't notice it. Gon breathes and breathes and breathes until he lets loose a scream that could rival Shinji's psychotic scream from End of Evangelion. The whole scene plays with no background music, and the sound and voices are just left to their own devices. Killua's quick wit recognizes the high threat of the situation and knocks Gon out, sprinting away with him into the night. Never a good sign. Dark clouds cover the moon, signaling the source of light is being obscured, meaning death is nigh. Excellent shot of the grass here, flowing while Pitto and Kite stare each other down. Kite's a pro hunter, so even though his arm was lost, he's had many brushes with intense pain, I'm sure, so he's not screaming in agony. Kite's crazy slots appears, and since Kite's life is in peril, gives him a good roll. The interesting thing about Pitto here is there's not any typical villainy. It's very literally the curiosity of a cat. She's a very curious creature, curious of the bounds of her strength, pondering why Kite can materialize objects. Trickles of rain graze Kite's cap and our infamous logo appears in the downpour. A unique low-key somber track is played while Killua laments his perceived incompetence and reality stares him in the face, just like Pitto did. You can tell by all the weather effects that things have gotten really serious and you're going to be seeing some very moving stuff this episode. What I mean is seeing the sun rise over the cliffs while Killua arises from the mist with Gon lumped on his shoulders. God, this show is so good. There's just nothing like it. It's an incredible experience for the ages. I mean, you're never going to see anything like this again, so try to spread it around. Spread it to other people so they can enjoy it too. Our little guys aren't the only ones unstable. Spinner's freaking out as well. Our bear buddy takes the phone as he recognizes how serious this is. What a bro. The quick shot of the three shadowed is really good. Netero and two other people. The theme of weakness keeps showing up as the group hammers down on our little guys instead of cheering them up, as would be typical in just about any other show. This would be the falling point where our heroes receive encouraging words and their spirit is lifted back up to face the final villain. What's interesting is how early this hero's low point happens for our characters in the grand scheme of this arc. I mean, this is going to be a huge arc, and they're just broken so early on, or at least Killua was. But anyway, that's just really interesting how Togashi wrote that. You know, everything about Hunter x Hunter, except, you know, some things like the fight with Ginthru, is just pretty much a subversion of very common things. Now, I mean, as TV tropes will tell you, subverting, like, everything is not a good idea, because then you'll just have kind of a bare-bones story that just doesn't work, and people have tried it before and it's came out really crappy. Togashi subverts what he wants to, what will make the most interesting story. I love how Hunter x Hunter likes to take power levels and just throw them in the trash. I mean, yeah, a guy with more aura has a better chance of beating you with brute nin force, but good old strategy can overcome him in the Hunter world, as seen in Kurapika's fight. He had a powerful ability, but it was the strategy behind it that let him overcome Uvogin. Moral's a really good character. Even the moment he's introduced, he has good things to say. One last thing, you can just really see the extent of Gon and Killua's friendship there with Killua placing his shirt on Gon. Gon can't place his shirt on himself because he's all traumatized and shit. Killua's voice acting here in the truck is very delicate and well done. The words from Nav, Moral, and Netero just serve to push him deeper into his hole. Netero gives him 2 pieces of wood that mean the world since it's the chance to get stronger. The thing to wonder is, without the light of determination and optimism to guide him, would Killua even have chosen to get stronger here? What would he have done if Gon just woke up and Gon was just broken by the preceding events? After a long walk that seems to be taking a toll on Killua, or perhaps it's all just his depressed mentality that's making him walk slow, Killua places Gon in a bed. Killua's doubt and strength seems to be turning into severe depression, and just at that moment when he's on the brink, you hear Gon's voice. His puppy-like innocent face with goofy ears appears blinking, finally awake and signaling he's alive. Once again, silence is used to great effect to let us get fully absorbed into the words being said. Gon thanks Killua for stopping him from doing something stupid and very likely suicidal. And here we have one of the best scenes in all forms of media ever. And I would know because I've seen a lot and read a lot. The instant Killua says he thinks Kite died by his hands, by his lack of strength, Gon's unwavering eyes brightly assure him that Kite is very well alive. The interesting thing here is Gon doesn't even seem to accept the possibility of Kite's death. Remember guys, Gon's still a kid, so he's not totally right in the head yet. This seems like a very probable scenario for something unbelievably traumatic and unreal happening to a kid that age. I took a little bit to review this because I had to let all of this sink in. The music kicks in and this is when the waterfall started. Fuck, I couldn't handle this scene. It's just so sudden and poetic. Gon's smile is meant to parallel Jing's, and I find it funny that I remember that, but I'm sure most of you do too. Jing's smile in that picture frame is only shown so many times throughout the whole show, yet it's deeply ingrained into our minds. Human brains are amazing at picking up patterns. This is a next level ethereal scene right here. I'm mainly talking about the scenery, the way the trees are broken in pieces all over the landscape with like the heavenly looking water. Kite's hair flows in the water as Neferpitou places her hand on her prize, her prey, like Kite belongs to her. Her battle scars seem to be quite minimal considering all the damage around the scene done to the environment. Again, confirming her curiosity and proving her killing Kite wasn't out of malice. She says she guesses she's pretty strong. Loud boom sound, end of episode. Okay, so I had to watch this like 3 times before reviewing it. First of all, just because it was really good and I just wanted to really absorb it. But, I mean, yeah, everything was fine and dandy up until the bed scene with Gon and Killua. I actually thought they were going to use a different unused musical piece there. They've got a really nice acoustic take on the ending song. It's about 3 minutes, 44 seconds long. If you want to find it on YouTube, it's called like Nagara Boshi Kirari or something like that. I probably can't say it right. But there's no way they probably could have fit it because that scene between Killua and Gon, while very touching, is also very short and ephemeral. Okay, so this review's already going pretty long, so I need to wrap things up. I'm going to go ahead and give it an S+. It was originally going to be like an S or an S-, but I realized how perfect actually the music and the silence is for Killua and Gon's scene where Killua thinks Gon is the light. I wanted that acoustic version of the song to play, but it actually would have overshadowed what was going on and it may have actually been a little too powerful. So yeah, since the episode was life-changing and something you'll never forget, I have to give it an S+. Just a quick bonus at the end of the video. If you're wondering what's on the shelf behind me, let me just see if I can get this right real quick. There we go. Okay, so you've got One Piece right there, you got Nausicaa, you got Hunter x Hunter, and then you got Rurouni Kenshin right there. And up here, right there, there we go, you got Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and then a My Bloody Valentine CD. Loveless, one of the best albums ever. It's just so amazing. Anyway, if you're wondering what that stuff is, that's just some of my favorite pieces of media from across, you know, all the media genres. I used genre wrong there, but oh well. Anyway, thanks for watching my review and have a nice day.